everyday people share everyday tips, and you can learn something to improve your life journey. Today's episode is improving your social health by working with your inner circle. So a lot of us may or may not be too happy with our friend groups or our family groups or our inner circle. And so hopefully we get a little knowledge here today to do it. Remember, if you want to be a guest on this show, anyone and everyone's welcome. There is no requirements. We want knowledge and tips from everyone, and everyone in this world has something to share. So sign up, www.millionairesaremade.com. It's also in the comments. And we also are looking for sponsors. If you want to spend $5 to get your brand in front of people, come say hi. We got 3 guests today. We're going to be talking about social health in your inner circle. I'll kind of start here real quick. So some advice that I got from Ed Milet is to think of your inner circle more as a target, where you really have your inner circle, where very, very, very few people are there, and they're going to be there for many years. Then you've got your outer ring, and the most outer ring, where people just kind of come in and fly out. And the biggest tip that he gives is it's dynamic. Just because someone's in your innerest circle for 5 years of college doesn't mean they have to be there for the rest of your life. So don't be afraid to move people to an outer ring. Cool. Well, that's my little piece of advice there. Hopefully that helps you out a little bit. I'm going to bring up my friend Tanya, who's going to share some more advice with us as well. Morning, Tanya. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, Austin. How are you today?
I am great. I've got one quick question for you. Who are you?
My name is Tanya Balarjan, and I am a holistic cancer wellness specialist.
Wow, cool. Tell us a little more about that.
I was diagnosed with cancer back in 2007. I had a 5% chance of survival. And
wow. Glad to see you're here.
Thank you. So now I teach people how to holistically handle their cancer diagnosis.
Do you use cannabis?
I recommend it if people are interested in it. Yes, absolutely. It was vital during my treatment.
I'm sure that when you had cancer and a 5% chance of health, you had a lot of thoughts about your inner circle, didn't you?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Some people might have just left and you're like, whoa, wake up call. Those are not really close to me. They shouldn't be in here.
Building your...
So I'm going to ask you.
Yeah, building the relationships. That's you want people that are going to support you in what you're doing. Everybody has to be in total alignment.
100%. So I'm going to ask you our most important question right now. If I wanted to improve my social health with my inner circle, what advice would you give me?
I would tell you to use the superhero pose, which everybody knows what it is. Feet apart, shoulder, hands on your hips, chest out, shoulders back. Standing that way for 2 minutes before you go into anything builds confidence for you. So if you have an important conversation, or you're going on stage, or you're talking to your boss, or you need to talk to your best friend about something, some boundary that they're breaking, this will give you the confidence to do it. 2 minutes.
When do you do it? Okay, 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Do it for 2 minutes right before you go into that conversation or you go into that interaction.
You don't do it right in front of them?
I mean, if you want to, you can. But there was a study done where they did 2 groups of kids. One group they told to be Batman, and the other group they just, whatever. And they were given an unsolvable puzzle. The kids that were told to pretend that they were Batman worked at it longer and with less frustration than the kids who didn't have that. It's very interesting.
That's interesting. That is. Well, that kind of leads to this next question then. Where on your life journey did you learn this advice?
While I was going through my cancer journey, I visualized that I was putting on Wonder Woman's underwear every day. That was like the physical representation of me actively deciding to live. And so I think that alter ego and the superhero pose are hand in hand.
So essentially, to improve your social health through your through inner circle, Superman pose gives you the confidence to make sure that your relationships are correct, that your inner circle is tight.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Yes, it
And,
gives you more
and
confidence. And if you're teaching your friends how to do it, like all of you can become more confident. You can step into your personal power.
so you can use it as a group thing as well. Very interesting.
Absolutely.
Do you still do it today?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Can you show us your Superman pose?
Well, I mean, sort of. You stand up and you put your hands on your hips, your chest out, shoulders back.
All right.
Head held high.
All right.
And if you stand like that for just 2 minutes, you feel more empowered. You feel more like Batman or Wonder Woman or whatever super person that you appreciate.
And how many times in your life do you think you've done this?
Thousands.
Thousands. I mean, you sound very confident. You came on here and you were like, boom, boom, boom. I think it works.
It does work. It does work. And I definitely used it every day while I was going through my cancer journey, which was basically a year. So that was 365 days in a row, right? So, and that was 16 years ago. So thousands. I've done it thousands of times.
Thousands. Wow. Well, congrats on beating cancer. That's huge. And thank you for the tip. We're going to move on to our next guest, and we'll catch you in a couple minutes.
All right. Perfect.
Hopefully John's all set and ready. Hey, John, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing awesome. How are you doing, Austin?
I'm doing great. I've got
good.
A first question for you. Who are you?
So my name's John Olson. I'm the author of the Stranger Bridgeland book series, 7 books with an 8th coming out next year. I've spent 30 years studying the paranormal and interviewing people from all over the world about their paranormal experiences and writing them first person in my books.
Wow. Okay. So these are books that are like based on true stories, or at least based on like accounts of people.
Yeah. They're all first person accounts. So
what a cool career. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I've got a very, very important question for you, John. If I wanted to improve my social health with my inner circle, what advice would you give me?
I would tell you that it's very important to make sure that the people in your inner circle are helping build you up and helping support you, and also allowing you to help and support them as well. It needs to be a kind of situation where everybody builds each other up. And if it's not that kind of relationship in your inner circle, it's not doing anybody any good.
Do you have any tips on how to maybe analyze a relationship to see if it's a positive relationship? And I like that you pointed out reciprocity. That's a good one too.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds important. But yeah.
Well, it's really just, living life and spending time with those people, whether it's a group that you do a sport with, like, golf, go fishing, whatever. And when you're spending time with them, make a mental note. Was this positive? Was this negative? What was needed here? What wasn't? Was it just simply something that helped all of us relax? And, was there helpful there? And I think after a while, you can start recognizing when somebody might have, nefarious, thoughts or something that's caustic to you or the group. And you've got to not be afraid to cut off relationships that are harmful to you.
Yeah. Again, another one that might be easier said than done, cutting off toxic relationships. But very important in your inner circle. Like you said, you got to keep them positive, and you got to make sure that they stay positive. So I guess my question is, what happened on your life journey that you learned this advice? Where did you pick this up from?
So it really came to focus for me about 10 years ago. I went through a really kind of miserable time through a divorce. And after being married for 20 years, I went through this divorce, and it became very apparent to me that some of the people in my circle were very helpful and wanted to help and understood. And there were people in the circle that didn't have that positive energy, and actually a lot that self-cut themselves out of my circle. And so it really got me thinking about being, selective about who, you talked about it being a ring, and you got to be very selective about how close you allow
Yes.
people in your ring. And so that's helped me put a lot of that into perspective throughout my life. But that definitely brought it all into much more clear aspect.
Yeah, I think that's very big. Awesome. Well, you've got about 30 more seconds. Anything else you want to add, John?
Just that, if you are going through something that's really tearing you down, whether it's a divorce or depression or something like that, helping others will help pull you out of it. When you're reaching out to help other people, your spirits will be lifted. So that's a big one to do.
Very cool. That's good advice. I like it. All right, John. Well, I'm going to move on to our next guest. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you in a few minutes. Hi, Amy.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing today?
Good. I'm freezing. It's cold here out on the East Coast.
Oh man. Well, I'm actually farther than the East Coast in the Virgin Islands now, and it's
I would say
toasty.
you look nice and warm. You're not stoking a fire like I am, so I'm a little jealous right now.
Yeah, that's my view now. It's I was in Denver though, so I would have like 11 inches of snow right now if I didn't run away.
Smart.
Much happier down here. Much happier down here. So
Yeah.
real quick then, I guess, who are you?
So I'm Amy Hager. I am the partner in joy over at the Joyful Business Revolution, where we help you cultivate more joy every day in your life and in your business. And we really help a lot of business owners, coaches, and consultants focus first on finding how to message and market their business from a place of joy so it doesn't feel like a chore anymore.
Ah, cool. Wow, that's an
Yeah.
interesting twist. I like that. All
It's a
right.
little
Well, I'm gonna. Yeah, I mean, I like it. Niche. I mean, that's kind of how life is going now. There's a lot of consulting and coaches on specific things because a lot of things have been missing over the past years. So that's great that you found a way to find happiness in marketing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to ask you our most important question right now. If I wanted to improve my social health with my inner circle, what advice would you give me?
It would be to know your lifestyle values, because when you know your lifestyle values, it's a lot easier for you to say yes to things. But I think even more importantly, it makes it a lot easier for you to say no to things as well. And so when you're getting invited to do things or asked to do things, run it through your lifestyle values. And if it doesn't fulfill 3 out of the 5, then it's probably a no. And a lot of times we just feel so guilty telling other people no because we don't want to disappoint them, but then we end up not feeling good about it. And so it really helps you ground yourself in what is important to you and what you really, really value in this life's journey, and gives you that permission to say, you know what, this just isn't something that's for me right now.
I like it. I like it. So you said 3 out of 5. Do you recommend 5 lifestyle values?
Yeah, usually when we go through the lifestyle values exercise, we end up with 5 themes. And
Okay.
your lifestyle values can change and grow as you do as a human, as you have more experiences, right? So it's not like do your lifestyle values once in your life and never ask yourself the questions again. I say visit them at least once a quarter, if not every 6 months, just to make sure that you're currently operating in the highest place of joy that you can with yourself.
So I teach a lot about, we call them core values. But yeah, do you have separate core values or lifestyle values for your business and separate for your personal?
No, because it's all intertwined. We're one human. So, and that's one thing I think that's very different about our approach with lifestyle values and even messaging and marketing. Like you can't live 2 personalities in this life. I used to be an on-air radio DJ.
No
My name used to be
Batmans in the
Haley
workplace.
Fox. I used to have a second personality. It's not fun having 2 personalities. So if you can break down that barrier and really find the alignment within your life, within your business, making sure everything's aligning with joy. We call it being above the joy line. We don't want you to be below that joy line. I think that's really, really key.
Very cool. Okay, so I have my last question for you. What happened in your life journey that kind of taught you this advice, taught you this tip?
Yeah. So as I said, I'm the partner in joy at the Joyful Business Revolution. So actually my business partner, Shannon, wrote a book called Practical Joy, and I actually have it here in case any of you want to see
Oh,
the
show
really
us.
cool cover.
Practical Joy.
Yeah.
Everyone go buy that book.
And so in the section 2 of this book is how we do this with all of our clients. And the 2 most important questions that you need to be asking yourself is, what do you always find the time for? And what do you always find the money for? And you're going to want to write down those answers. No judgments, really. Don't censor yourself. A few examples that I have is I always find the time for cat cuddles. I always find the time to travel. I always find the time to make myself breakfast, which I was eating right when we got on this call together. And then I always find the money for soft cat food. I always find the money to go out and have a glass of wine with a friend. And so when you start writing down those themes of where you are right now, and then the second round of the questions is, where do you want to find the time for, and what do you desire to have the money for? That can also help you strive towards more things. When you find those 5 themes with all of the answers that you answer those 4 questions with, those are your lifestyle values.
I love it. Yeah, that's right to it. That's perfect. Very good advice.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts you have for us, Amy?
I would say that, one thing that we really talk about is joy is a choice. And so as you go through day in and day out, if it's not joyful, ask yourself, what could I choose differently to make this situation more joyful, or at least to be able to enjoy the situation? It's a really good question to ponder with.
I love it. That's a great way to end. Thank you so much, Amy. I'm going to bring everybody out now.
All right.
Hey, John. Hey, Tanya. All right, guys.
Hello.
We're going to come to our round robin. So we'll have each person will quickly refresh our memory with their 1-sentence tip, and then we'll all comment on it, and hopefully it's so good that we all love it. But obviously they are. Tanya, we'll go ahead and start with you. What was your tip? Can you refresh us what your tip was?
I sure can. Using the superhero pose to build confidence. It only takes 2 minutes.
Awesome. John, any thoughts on that?
I love it. I think anywhere I can gain confidence, I'm going to try it. So, and that's one I haven't tried, so I'm definitely going to do that for sure.
I do like that. Amy, what are your thoughts?
So what I like the most about the Superman pose, whatever, is your feet are grounded. And, when you are grounded as a human, you are able to show up in your best and fullest. And so of that pose, what I love about it most is when your feet are touching the ground.
I like it. For me, I kind of like that it was 2 minutes. I feel like that was short, but it was long enough that you could almost do like a mini meditation. It's like a little visualization focus time. You can stand there and go, all right, I'm about to hit this meeting. Here's what I want, my visualization, and so that even as much as it builds confidence, it gives you a little time to kind of really focus in on what task you're about to do. So I like that you said using it before meetings and other things like that. So that was pretty cool. Hey, John, can you refresh us real quick what your tip was?
Yes, my tip was basically being very selective about who you allow in your inner circle and the people that are in your life. There's going to be times in everybody's situation where you're going to have to give more and take more, but you've got to have people who are positive and want to build you up and help you in everything that you're trying to accomplish, so that you can help them also with the things they're trying to accomplish.
I want to tag on that a little bit too, because you say it's all, have a circle that builds you up, but you talked about it earlier. You also have to build them up. If you're a negative person taking people down, your inner circle very likely is probably going to be filled with negativity as well. So while you're looking for positive people, you got to make sure that you're projecting and you're being a positive person to other people. Yeah, that's my little take on that. Tanya, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts on that. I keep hearing that you are the sum of the 5 people you hang around with. So you really want to make sure that those 5 people are on point and people that you're proud to hang around with, because those qualities will rub off on you.
Good point.
Yeah, that's very, very accurate. Amy, what are your thoughts on John's tip?
I think to add to it, because you don't want to just be surrounded by fake positively all the time, right? And so I think positive is important, but also Surrounding yourself with people who are curious and who are willing to live in the question, because you may be making some stupid choices and you may not see it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And so when you
That's
have that
that's a
group
good
that
add-on. That's a good
is
add-on.
curious and in the question with you, for you, sometimes it helps you bring it out.
Yep. I would
I
agree.
like that add-on. Amy, can you refresh us real quick? What was your tip?
Yeah, so know your lifestyle values so that you can say yes to things, but I think even more importantly, be able to say no to things.
I love it. Tanya, what are your thoughts on that?
I absolutely agree. You need to know what your values are so that when an opportunity presents itself, you can decide whether or not it's authentic for you
Right.
or not. And knowing your values makes it a lot easier to do that. And it saves you from saying yes to an opportunity that isn't completely in alignment with your soul's purpose. And then you're wasting your time, you're wasting their time. And yeah, it could be a hot mess.
I agree. John, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I just right along those lines. The older I get, the more that I it really impresses on me that yeah, I need to know myself, like you said, in order to surround myself with the people that are going to build me up, like you said. And so, knowing your core values, knowing who you are, and being confident in that, I just love all of that.
I love it. Yeah, and obviously, I mean, almost every new coaching and consulting client, first thing I do is core values. So Amy hit that on the head. I mean, in business as well as in your personal life, knowing what you stand for and what's important to you is definitely very important for you to create a strong inner circle and then increase your social health. All right, last tip was me. So I talked about how your inner circle has multiple rings and it's dynamic. It doesn't just because you went to college for 5 years with someone doesn't mean that they're going to be your perfect inner circle for the rest of your life. Dynamic circles are great, and almost like Amy said, revisit your core values. But yeah, Tanya, what do you think about a dynamic inner circle?
Absolutely. Some people are in your life only long enough to teach you something, and some people are there for the entire time. There are seasons, right? Like, and some people are going to be there forever, and some people are not. Some people are just gonna show you a thing that you need to learn, or you teach them something, and then they transition onto their next thing.
I hear that. John, what do you think about my tip? You better say it's amazing.
I love it. I really love it. And one thing that to go along with that, I'm in my 40s, and so it's important to know how to make new friends at all levels, because it's different when you're 40 than when you're 20, because it's just different. The dynamics different and everything. So just keeping that, your ability to make new friends all the time, to help bolster those that may leave your inner circle, or it's those are very important. Very important.
I agree with that. Amy, what do you think about my tip?
Well, I think really all of this kind of ties together to it being dynamic. And Tanya, you said seasonal, which I also love as a descriptor as well. Like sometimes we get so rooted in my friends are these people and it can just never change. And then if it does, sometimes we really beat ourselves up, right?
Yeah.
And so I think if we can work better as humans to accept that sometimes people are in the right season with us, and sometimes they're in out of season with us, just like a sweater. When you're not going to wear a sweater when it's summertime, right? And so it may come back. So I think leading with that curiosity and question with all of this is also really, really beautifully all tied together.
Some of my favorite episodes are when, because I don't meet anyone beforehand. I love to just let you guys say what you want. I don't want my bias in it. And so when you have 3 guests and then eventually you see that it all kind of comes together, I'm like, those are the best shows. Everyone can take a little bit of everything. All these tips are great and they all kind of merge into each other. Those are my favorite shows. So we got one last thing, guys, and we got like 4 minutes to figure it out. We have to come up with a daily challenge. So all our viewers and you guys, we're going to hold you accountable. Something that costs $0. and takes less than 5 minutes a day, that anybody in the world, an island in Japan, Antarctica, wherever they are, something they can do to improve their social health with their inner circle. Any suggestions?
I mean, we can make a collage of all three of ours, right? We can work on our core values.
5 minutes. Okay.
Right, but superhero pose takes 2 minutes. So if you do that,
and that's easy.
And then you work on your core values, and every time you have an interaction with friends, just take a mental note of whether you felt joy from it, it was a positive interaction, you felt supported or not. You could do that in 5 minutes.
Well, and I'm wondering if you're using the pose, maybe it's asking the questions too that I had suggested as part of figuring out your lifestyle values. Maybe the question of what do I always find time for is a good question to run with while you're in that pose. So that way you're refreshing yourself daily of what you really, really deeply believe in and where you're spending your time and energy, which then folds into where John was talking of, all right, after you do your pose and you're answering those questions, what do I always have the time for? I think it's a beautiful, time to quickly journal of evaluating your inner circle of, are these people aligned with me? And just having that awareness. You don't have to give them the boot right away, right? But maybe it's you're having conversations to see, is this relationship as strong as I need it? Or do I need someone to fill a gap because there's a weakness in my circle? Going back into Austin's part about it being dynamic.
I love setting the intent, your intent inside the superhero pose. That's fantastic.
Me too. Yeah. Me too. All right, so here's a one I'm going to throw out there. So what if we do the superhero pose? I think we're all pretty much set on that. So doing the superhero pose, I like the idea of maybe almost kind of like positive affirmations, but maybe you talk about one core value that you have or want. You can be like, hey, I want to be honest. I want to be honest. I want to be honest. Or, I want adventure. I want adventure, whatever that is. So every day you can change it, right? Core values can change. And then maybe we say something positive about somebody that is currently in our inner circle. So we can start bringing that trait out.
Value.
That sounds good.
Exactly. So you do your superhero pose and then you go, one of my core values is honesty. I believe in honesty. I believe in honesty. I believe in honesty. And then you go, hey, someone told me the truth here. Someone told me the truth here. And you think of something that happened that like either the day before or that day that kind of reaffirms your core value.
Yeah.
Love that. Love it.
That ties them all together.
Yep.
That's it then? We're sold on that?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm sold on that.
2 minutes, Superman. The first minute, you just kind of like a positive affirmation, reaffirm your core, whatever core value that day. Maybe tomorrow's different. Change it up. That's fine. And maybe you don't have core values. Some of you maybe haven't gone through an exercise thing. That's fine. Just think of something that you like in your life. Honesty, trustworthy, adventurous, intelligence, whatever in your life that you like to attract more of. Just repeat that for the first minute in your head. And then the second minute, you can repeat something. Think of something that actually happened in the last 24 hours that reaffirms that after that core value. Does that sound good for everyone?
Sounds good.
Alrighty. Well, we finally did it. That's a good challenge. So I will be videoing me do this challenge every day, and I will be tagging all of you, and hopefully you guys get videos, and we'll challenge everyone, and hopefully everyone's inner circle grows over the next week. I wanted to thank you all for being guests. You guys are amazing. We hope to see you again, but we're going to wrap up the show now. Hope you all enjoyed this episode of Millionaires Are Made. Today, we had 3 awesome guests. We had some really good tips. My favorite shows are when they all go together and merge into one awesomeness of show. So if you didn't watch the whole thing, go back and watch it. It's pretty amazing. This was a great episode. We did social health, how to improve your social health by improving your inner circle. So if you're having some struggles, maybe your best friend isn't being perfect how you want it, or your loved one, something like that, and you want to kind of reiterate your inner circle, it's a great episode to watch. Again, if you want to be a guest, comment below. If you want to sponsor one of our shows for $5, comment below. Otherwise, just comment anything and everything. We love to talk. We're